put it into like simple words.
I want to be a teacher.
Without teachers, we don't have anyone at all.
Teaching is essentially making it so that people can achieve their full potential, their dreams, their goals.
I've seen the impact of education, and I've seen just like the little things that can change just someone's life and how they view life. It's really hard because there's so many different reasons, and like one reason would be like because of like teachers like Mr. Mann that I had, or people that like really changed my life.
My favorite teacher was a TA I've had in chemistry. I had him in 2nd and 3rd year.
My favorite teachers was my grade 12 writer's trap teacher.
My vocals teacher in high school.
Jane Chen was my favorite teacher for being very understanding and knowing that we had a life outside of school and that sometimes impacted school.
So he just made a difference in all his students' lives. Like he made a point of making sure everyone connected.
He was so committed to making sure each and every student had the tools they needed to get through the class.
Not only was she extremely passionate about what she taught, but she also just had such a kind and compassionate attitude and personality.
He always encouraged everyone in all that they did.
And then after you would email him saying, I didn't really understand this, and he put in so much time and so much effort in meeting with each student and making that particular, like, it was sort of like a tutoring session that he wasn't being paid for. They making that particular session very like tailored to what that person needed. He knew something about every single student and was trying to make like the lesson applicable to like what that person wanted to do.
The material that she presented, it was always like super applicable. She made it super easy to understand, and as well was willing to not only tell us like, oh, this is what it meant, but was willing to hear students' opinions and consider alternate opportunity.
He's like so invested in making sure that each student is on the path that like they want to go, and he's providing them with tools to like allow them to go there. Yes, like teachers should be packing in as much like diversity and variety as they can, but I think ultimately where like how might students learn differently is when you're putting in the time one-on-one with them.
I think you have to keep in mind that no two students are the same, and you never fully comprehend their set of circumstances, you know?
Everybody works a little differently. Everybody has their own personal strengths and weaknesses, which are all completely valid.
Students can be different just based on their mental abilities, their exceptionalities.
You can't slap a label on someone just because they belong to a certain group, but it's important to account for how personal circumstances have an impact on learning and development.
Obviously, if some students need control over their learning, right? So giving them a choice, giving them a schedule, letting them know what's going to happen, and not straying from that schedule, following what you say you're going to do, following through, and marking things the way you promise you're going to mark them. Just being consistent and being accommodating to your students is the best way to do that.
That way you can make sure that every student feels as though the way they learn is valid, and just because they learn in a different way than other students doesn't mean that they are any less intelligent or amazing at what they do themselves.
The most you get is a file on your desk that may give a brief outline of struggles they've had in the past, but you have no idea what's going on at home or the previous experiences that have shaped them, and really that's what makes us all individuals, and I think it's so important to take that into account, that they're more than just this file that gets dropped on your desk.
A teacher really has to be aware of that, and aware that they might not always be diagnosed or have like outward symptoms that are so obvious, but like you have to be able to come down to their level and really talk to them about what they struggle with.
As a teacher, the best thing you can possibly do is just to make sure that every student feels as though they are meeting their full potential, so that and the number one way you can do this is to make sure that you're offering a variety of ways in which every student can learn.
I think to me, being a good teacher, I think there's an implicit contract between student and teacher where we expect them to do their best, but I think it's also important for us as teachers to do our very best.
Being a teacher means understanding your students, understanding what helps them succeed and what causes them to fail, and acting accordingly. It's your goal to teach them, to help them succeed, and as a good teacher, you need to do that for a student.
A good teacher is providing students or helping students explore like every single facet of where they could end up, and helping them discover like what the best path is for them, and then helping them set up goals, like attainable goals, to help them get there.
Help them learn and want them to discover things about themselves that they never really knew beforehand.
Not only are you teaching your students and getting them engaged and being excited in class and doing the academic work, but also making them be interested in the rest of their life.
And that means staying current, adapting to change, and constantly learning. You're never done learning as a teacher. There's always some new way to improve and to be innovative. And I think once you stop striving for that, it's a disservice to your students.
A good teacher wants to put every student on their own path.
And so the thing that a good teacher does is that they foster that sort of creative spark or not creative spark, like that drive for learning that makes them want to think, oh, I want to know more about this, and so that they see something like school as not just being like, oh, this is something I have to do, but like, you know what, yeah, I want to learn something new, and I'm actually interested in wanting to expand my knowledge base about a particular subject.
So as a teacher, I think like your goal is to be like asking them what they want to do with their future and like providing them with goals and steps to get there.
I want to do more than just teach. I want to empower students, and I want to show them that I care on a very individual level, and as much as I care about granting them that magical knowledge and power, it's also important to help them develop as people.
Welcome to the Faculty of Education!
Welcome to the Faculty of Education.
Welcome to the Faculty of Education.
Welcome to the Faculty of Education.
Welcome to the Faculty of Education. I hope you have a great time.
You're gonna love it here.
You're going to do an awesome job.